great pleasure to now invite the Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Juan Elegido, to please deliver his speech to the audience. Thank you.
Mrs. Rosemary Okolo, Registrar of the University, Mr. Chidia Babu, Bursar of the University, Dr. Mike Okolo, Acting Dean of the School of Media and Communication, Professor Chantal Epier, Deputy Dean of the School of Business Administration, Dr. Imelda Wallace, Director of the Institute of Humanities, Dr. Pius Onopayedo, Director of the Information Systems Academy, other academic and non-academic staff of PAU, all the students who are matriculating today, the parents, relations and friends of the matriculating students, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this matriculation ceremony, the first in the history of Pan-Atlantic University. I must say I'm happy that you are clapping at this rather than being surprised. When you think of it, it took us 12 years to have our first matriculation ceremony from the time we were approved as a university. At first sight, it would look like extreme neglect. You may have seen sometimes announcements of some university announcing that they are going to do their 11th, 12th and 13th convocation ceremonies together. Obviously that means that they missed the 11th and 12th and now they are trying to catch up. In our own case, really, it's not the neglect. As you know, it is that given the peculiar way this university has evolved, we did not need until now to have a matriculation ceremony. You know, now when we have graduate programs, normally you don't do a matriculation ceremony for master's students or PhD students. So the fact that we are doing now a matriculation ceremony marks a very important milestone in the development of this university. Actually, it marks the transition from a graduate and specialized university. We were only offering degrees in business administration and in mass communication and only graduate degrees. So it marks the transition from a graduate specialized university to a full-service university. The matriculation is an important and traditional ceremony in the life of universities. Actually, it marks the enrollment of students. You are now officially members of the community of scholars that is this university. By the way, if you notice, there is there an important point. We are not a service organization, far less a service business. You are not our customers. You are not either just the students, that would be the case in a primary or in a secondary school. You are now junior partners in a community of scholars. This is the traditional understanding of a university. University, the name university comes from universitas. Universitas means the set of scholars that together form a university. Of course, those scholars, there are senior partners, so to speak. Those are the academic staff, and they are junior partners. You are still junior partners. But you are junior partners, you are not just the customers. It's not a question, therefore, that I will be very worried if you tell me we don't like so much mathematics in our program, we would like more dance and theater. You can ask that when you are a customer. You cannot ask that when you are a junior partner in a community of scholars. You are coming here to acquire a craft. You are here, hopefully, to be educated in wisdom. You are here to acquire a professional competence. And of course, you do that under the guidance and under the conditions prescribed by the senior partners in this community. But I would like to take advantage of this ceremony to explain to students, although students have already heard it several times, and to their parents, what I would call the main differentiating traits of an Atlantic university. If you look at the strategic plan of an Atlantic university, you will see that a lot of attention is paid in that plan to the differentiating characteristics of the university we are trying to build. That is something very important because, as you may know, by now there are almost 25,000 universities in the world. In Nigeria, by now is already almost 130. Very soon the number will continue growing. You realize it's very easy to get lost in that crowd. You can only really be successful in the midst of, let's say, so many competitors if you are very clear about your identity. If you are very clear about the traits that differentiate you from other universities. Now, how do we define those differentiating traits of an Atlantic university when compared to other universities in Nigeria and outside Nigeria? I would say, first of all, is the Christian identity of the university. That is very clear. This university is based on a very specific conception of man and society. That is the Christian conception of man and society. All our teaching, all our activities are based on that idea. However, at the same time, it is a part of that Christian identity, as we understand it, that we have a great respect for the religious freedom of all the members of our community. Certainly, we will not be forcing any acts of religious worship on anybody. Together with that idea, that first trait of a clear Christian identity, the second very important trait of this university is an ideal of education in freedom and for freedom. This is a formula you are going to be hearing very, very often. The idea behind that is that you cannot really develop the character we would like you to develop if you are always forced to act in certain ways. We put a very high fence around the university. We could make sure that you never go out of that fence. We could make sure that inside that fence you always behave in very specific ways. Okay, all we could aspire to achieve, in our opinion, following that policy is to get you to act in a certain way while you are inside the university. As soon as you go out during the vacations, afterwards during your youth service, okay, once there is nobody there forcing you to act in a certain way, it is the experience of many other institutions that all those ways of acting that have been forced on you when you were in university suddenly is like a snake changing skin. Immediately they disappear. We are convinced that you can only internalize the values we would like you to internalize if you have room to make your own decisions, if you have room to make free choices. Therefore, this plan is part of our academic conception to give you that room. Of course, in real life, with freedom to make choices comes accountability and responsibility for those choices. We also demand accountability, we also demand the responsibility, we also make sure that we provide a very definite structure that is defined by that Christian identity of the university, but still, education and freedom and for freedom is very much a defining characteristic of what we are trying to do in this university. Another important trait of what we do in the university is emphasis on quality of teaching. In fact, not just any type of teaching, but teaching for employability. That means that we realize that it's part of our mission to do research, and we take it very seriously. We know that it is part of our mission to render service to the community, and we also take that very seriously. But we realize that your first interest is to be in a university that teaches effectively. And we will try and do that to the best of our ability. I was quite pleased recently talking with one of you who commented to me that talking with other friends who were attending other universities and comparing her own experience with that of her friends, the way she put it, I very much liked it, is that her friends in other places seem to be attending lectures. I mean, a professor would come in the classroom, would go there to the rostrum and deliver a lecture. Apparently, whether the students understood anything or not was a very secondary matter, was not a part of the concern of the lecturer. The concern of the lecturer is to deliver brilliant lectures. End of story. But I am happy that at least the way that the student talking to the Vice Chancellor, I would have to hear her talking to her friends, but at least talking to the Vice Chancellor, she made the point, really, lecturers here seem to have an interest in teaching, in making the point, in answering questions, in making sure that the message has been communicated. That is really very important to us. Another very important characteristic of this university, and especially so because for the time being we are only offering professional courses, is the emphasis we put on the humanities. As you know, we have an Institute of Humanities, precisely whose mission is to deliver these courses. The point is that everybody in this university, even those who will do accounting, even those who will very soon will be doing engineering, or everybody must take at least 40 credits in courses in the humanities. That is a lot of emphasis on English, a lot of emphasis on philosophy, a lot of emphasis on ethics, on Nigerian and African peoples and culture. I mean, we are convinced that if you are doing a professional course, the only thing you really learn are professional subjects. 10 years after you have left this university, you will be fully obsolete. The only way you can have an ability to keep learning, at the same time, the only way you can be really useful to any future employers, the only way you will be able to set up your own business successfully, if you really have skills of critical thinking, of teamwork, of use of spoken and written English, and it is part of the identity of this university to place a lot of emphasis on such courses. Another important point in our philosophy is that we seem to be different from many other universities. There are many universities that typically will start in the first year with 10 faculties and 40 programs. We have started only with 3 programs and 86 students. I can tell you, I have always been a professor in a business school. From a financial point of view, that is a really horrible decision. I mean, if you look at our financial reports in this first year of the life of the university, I can assure you, whenever the board and myself look at the numbers, our first reaction is to cry. We are ready to suffer the short pain, to pay the price, because by developing our programs little by little, we are able to really pay the best attention from the beginning to our students, and above all, we are able to preserve that culture we have had before in LBS, School of Media and Communication and carry it forward. Again, I was also very happy when I heard recently about a student who apparently was surprised because the lecturer arrived 5 minutes late for a class and apologized. The student, that is the culture of LBS, that is the culture of SNC, and happy that is the culture of all the programs in Atlantic University. We do work hard to keep things that way. And finally, yes, I have also mentioned before, for the time being, probably is going to continue being the case at least for the next 10 years, we have made a decision to concentrate on offering professional programs. There are several reasons for that, but I would say the most important reason is when you think of the predecessors of these undergraduate programs, you think of LBS, you think of SNC, these two schools have already developed a very significant expertise in training professionals. And the fact is that the way you educate professionals is not at all the same as the way you educate, let's say, natural scientists or social scientists. You have to put much more of an emphasis on participant-centered education. You have to put much more of an emphasis on practical training. The way you teach is very different. Even the way you do research to enrich those programs is also very different. We already knew how to do it in that university. We are trying to leverage that expertise to use it in the way we will train now these students in these professional programs. Part of this is also that, of course, the institution has very close contact with industry. And again, that's going to be very important and very useful in developing and implementing this BSc program we are now teaching. Finally, I would like to address the parents, even though I have already told this to those of you who were with us in the previous session. I would like to repeat this because really it comes from the bottom of my heart. I would like all of you, even those of you who were not in that session, to hear it. We are very much grateful for your trust. We appreciate that trust. As we mentioned before, we recognize that given that PAU is still very much a work in progress, that trust was based 80% on faith and at most only 20% on vision. All we can say is that we will do our best to repay that trust. And at the same time, precisely because an advantage, students have already heard me saying this before, being a pioneer has some problems. As a friend of mine used to say, it is the pioneers that are attacked by the Indians, but still, besides being a pioneer and besides the downside of being a pioneer has also clear advantages. The main one I would say is that right now the whole attention of the university is on this first set of students. I'm sure we will get a level of attention that even if we do our best, we will not be able to replicate that for every single set in the future. So thank you very much for your trust. We will do our best to repay it. So let me close this because I fully realize that I am the person right now who is standing between you and the cocktail, so I wouldn't like to accuse that situation too much. I thank the students, I thank the parents. I wish especially the students the best in your experience in Atlantic University.